Hello YouTube viewers, this is Brent, and I want to say Happy New Year to all my fasting friends and YouTube viewers. It's now 2021, and I'm going to not start off because I've already cut a couple of stones already this year, but anyway, I'm going to start this week by cutting a large piece of cubic zirconia here. This is a nice piece of emerald green CZ. This should cut a really nice gem. CZ is a really heavy gemstone. It's, I believe if I remember right, specific gravity is in the 5 range, where quartz is, I believe, in the 2 range. So it's like more than twice as heavy as quartz. And it has a hardness of 8 to 8.5, so it's a very durable material. It makes good gemstones. They wear very well for like a ring. And I'm going to cut this design by the Attaways, Steve and Nancy. Steve passed away not long ago, but he did a lot of designing and faceting. He's very well known in the fasting community. Okay, here we have the indexes, the angles, and this also is the master stone for the United States Fasting Guild's single stone competition for this year. So this is the gemstone people will be cutting to become master certified. But it will be cut in topaz at 12 millimeters. So the gemstone I'm going to be cutting is going to be much larger than that. Anyway, I'll get started on it and get dopped up, and I'm not going to show the dopping procedures because I've done that many times. And then I'll get back and have it on the machine ready to go. I had to take the design and run it through GemCut Studio so it would work with CZ. It has the refractive index of 2.15. So here's the GemCut Studio version of it. Here's the pavilion view. Here's the colorized view of it. Anyway, that's what I did. I've got the stone dopped up now. All centered as best I could, just by eyeing it. Usually you need to center your stone as best you can when it's in the rough shape here, just so you can take advantage of the carat weight, and you won't lose as much if you get it centered really best you can. So I'm pretty close here to being right in the center of this square piece of rough. When you're cutting a stone this large, you need to support the stone and use two hands when you're cutting it. And CZ makes a lot of swarf. This white creamy swarf is really thick when you're cutting CZ. Okay, we've reached this point where the culet is formed. That's going to be the basis for the whole stone's geometry, and once you get every facet to a perfect point to meet here for a perfect point, all the rest of the facets will fall into place perfectly, and if you don't get these all evenly cut, you will have problems with the rest of the facets. So that you got to be very careful. Now, right now it's not perfect because I've roughed this in with 260 grit. But I will, once I do the girdle outline, then after that I will cut with 600 grit and really refine all these points. But they're very close right now. So next I will set my machine at 90 degrees and lay the stone down and get the girdle sized up and square up the stone so it looks like it's the way it should be. And we'll go from there. Okay, I've started cutting the girdle facets. I've got 2 done already. So I'll work my way all the way around the stone here and show you what it looks like when I get them all done. Okay, I've got the 8 girdle facets cut. I've cleaned up the stone in the dop area. Cleaned up the index gear some too, because that spray is getting all over. See, it really makes a mess. When you do CZ, it makes a milky mess. So I'm going to clean out my splash bowl there real good. And the next step is to move on to 600, go back over everything, and then I can move on to the rest of the facets once I clean it up. Okay, I've cut all the facets with a 600 lap. And I've started cutting this second or third set of facets right here. That's going to come all the way down to the girdle. At this point, I've cut all of the pavilion facets with a 1200 grit lap, and I've started pre-polishing with 3000 diamond. and everything's proceeding correctly. I haven't had any glitches, and this CZ is not chipping like some of the, I've gotten some before that no matter what I tried to do, that it would chip on me. This is doing real good. I'm not having trouble with that. So there's different quality grades of CZ, but this is from China. That's probably only place you can get it anymore. Okay, I've gotten the first pre-polishing step completed, and that's cutting with a zinc plus lap from Gear Loose Lapidary using 3000 grit diamond compound. So next I'll go on to the 8000 grit copper lap. Do that pre-polishing, then it'll be on to final polishing. So at this point all facets are cut, and they're almost dead on the meets. And if there is any slight facets not meeting, that's on the 8000 grit lap. I can clean those up and get the meets right on. I've completely finished polishing the stone, and I'm going to transfer next. Okay, I've gotten the dop I'm going to use, and getting ready to mix my glue and do the transfer here. Here's our transferred stone. What we're going to do now is align the stone. Since we did the transfer, we have to make sure that the stones and dop is going to be inserted precisely back into the machine so that we can cut the crown facets directly over the pavilion facets down here to make a brilliant gemstone. If you don't have proper alignments of your crown and pavilion facets, you'll come up with a stone that's not nearly as bright and brilliant as it should be. So we've got our machine set at 90 degrees, and we've got the index set at 3, index setting at 3, which is going to be one of our, 3 is one of our girdle facets. So we're going to align to 90 degrees and index a 3 like we're cutting that facet, but we're just going to make sure the stone is sitting flat down against the lap. And I'm going to use this calibration block that I got with my machine just to raise it up off the lap. But they're both flat surface, very flat surfaces, so that'll make it easier to get. I won't have to go so far down and try to look. It'll be up higher. It'll be easier to do. Okay, I'm lowering my stone down to where it's going to touch. Now we're touching. We want to make sure it's not going to rock back and forth, and then I can tighten down my screw here. But I'm just making sure I'm on the right facet there. So 96 is straight up and down. 3 would be on this side here. So we're ready to go. We can tighten it down now. Make sure it's absolutely flat. See, I can still rock it. I can still rock it back and forth a little bit, but it's down flat now, but I'm going to turn it down a little bit more. Okay, we're good and flat, so I can tighten my screw. Oops. And we're completely aligned now. Okay, we've started cutting. And I'm going to show you what your first cut should look like. This line right here at the bottom of the facet you're cutting, which is up here, that line should be straight and parallel and even with your girdle down here, your girdle line. If that's not a straight line, you're going to have to go back and realign your stone, or you'd have to use your cheater. And on this machine, the cheater is right here. And according to whether you need to cut on the left or the right to make a straight line, you'd have to adjust your cheater either to the left or to the right to straighten out that line. But my alignment came out good, and my line right there is good and straight, so I'm good to go. I'll just keep cutting down till I get a small girdle instead of this big tall girdle here. I've got a lot of cutting to do. Okay, I've cut all 8 facets, and I've got them all to the right depth, and my girdle is even all the way around. And I know that I did a good job on my transfer and my dop alignment, my stone alignment that I just did. When you have an even girdle all the way around and you don't have any, when you get to the end of your facets and your last one is much lower or high, or the first one is higher, then you know you've got a problem and you have to do some cheating. But I was careful, and everything is even all the way around. So this is cut with the 600 lap, and now I'm going to move on to probably a 1200 lap and see how that goes. It's possible I might skip to a 3000 pre-polish and do some cutting, but I'll see how the 1200 goes. I've cut all the facets and pre-polished everything. I'm ready to start the final polish. This is final polishing of the table facet. I'm using a red wing lap, which is a dual zone lap, and this inner ring is the bat lap material, which is a tin lap. Okay, I finished the gemstone. Okay, we weigh 41 carats, 41 and a half.